presumably with Tim Boyle at quarterback, the Jets now have 3 straight home games, Miami, Atlanta, Houston, and then a game at Miami before their Christmas Eve home game against Washington. So, Richard, you went through Achilles surgery and Achilles rehab. What is your reaction to all this?
Skip, I have never gone through anything like what he's doing. So, I mean, this is, I don't even want to speak like it's the same because I wasn't full weight bearing at this point. I dang sure wasn't jogging and talking about practicing in a couple of weeks. I didn't practice until, 8 months out, 9 months out. And even then, I was still feeling pain and not 100%. So I think this is incredible what he's doing. It's unprecedented, like we've said, we talked about. And if he's able to do it, I think he's doing it to prove a point, to change the way Achilles are looked at, to change the way the timeline is looked at. More than anything, because if he comes back and they're 4-10 and they're out of the playoff hunt, and he's a guy who's almost 40 years old, there's really no point to come back and make this point if your team is out of contention, unless you're just trying to get your guys their stats. You feel like Garrett Wilson deserves a few good games from you. You're trying to get him his numbers before the year's up or something like that. But outside of that, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers can do whatever he chooses to do with his body, and clearly he wants to play. What I would say, though, in this situation, not had an Achilles or anything like that, but have known enough athletes that have, sit down, man. The Jets are done. There's no point in trying to come back. It's cool that you're on schedule. Keep pushing. Don't stop your rehab, but push it for next season. So if you can be back in December, that's cool. Don't step on the field, though. There's no point. The Jets aren't going anywhere. They're just not. They've bitched the Zach Wilson how many times in his career now? Like and everybody says, well, the quarterback's the real issue. That may be the case, but you're going to be so far behind Buffalo in Miami within the division, behind Kansas City, Baltimore, Pittsburgh, Cleveland in the conference.
Yep.
Why even bother? What's the point? Well, Richard says, well, maybe he wants to prove to everybody you can do it. Okay, you proved to everybody you can do it. I'm available in December. Look, I'm healthy again. I'm throwing the football. You've already shown us with our own eyes in a short period of time, you're on track. There's no need to step on the football field this year at all whatsoever because the Jets aren't going anywhere. They're just not. Garrett Wilson can get his numbers next year, okay? They can get he can do all that next year.
Okay. So, Richard, you have the Jets home game against Miami, first ever Black Friday game this coming Friday,
yes, sir.
Right? Okay.
Yes, sir.
It's going to have to start there. They're going to have to figure out how to beat the Dolphins, and then they have Atlanta, and then they have Houston at home. So they have 3 chances at home to take a stand, make a stand, and try to win those 3 before they have to go in the return date against the Dolphins in Miami. Gets tougher. And yet Aaron is talking yesterday about it's happened before. Teams have gone on late season runs from 4-6. He says, I remember a team back in 2016. Well, it was his team in Green Bay, but the point was he was the quarterback of that team and he was healthy, right? Okay, so it wasn't Tim Boyle trying to pull this off. And maybe Richard, you've studied Tim Boyle. Do you give him any shot? I don't know. I don't know what to think about him. I don't know his game. You have any feel for it?
It's honestly, the way the analytics have booked it, he's about the same as Zach Wilson, but I would guess he's coming in with a little bit more confidence. These are more weapons than he's had in the past and teams that he's been with. So, I mean, there's a chance, but, I mean...
No, there's not.
All right.
No, it's not, man. I'm not going to sugarcoat it.
Okay.
When you get to the third quarterback, Skip, you toast, man.
I understand, and I'm with you on this. Our man Michael Irvin keeps making the point on this show that maybe Aaron is doing this just to try to give a shred of hope, just a sliver of hope to the Jets. Like, I'm coming, I'll be back if you guys can match me. But he's saying, I don't care what the record is. I'm just doing this on my own. It's mutually exclusive from the record. Okay, so what do I know about Achilles? I've not torn one. I've had all kinds of sore Achilles tendonitis. But I know a number of orthopedic surgeons, have one very close friend, talked to several about this. They all say, as Richard will Well, second, look, the tendon needs time to heal. You had to it tore again. Keyshawn, you keep asking, are you sure it tore? Yeah, it tore. They had surgery and they had to reattach it. It needs time to heal, to grow back together strongly enough that you don't pop it again, because it's very poppable as we speak. So he has been running on one of those weight reducing treadmills where you're sort of suspended up, where you're just barely touching the treadmill as you run, and it's taking some of the pounding, some of the weight off the Achilles. Okay, good for you. But if you come back and start moving in the pocket, even though we're not expecting him to run down the field, but even to move and plant in the pocket, it's high risk, because it hasn't been nearly long enough for the tendon to heal. So your risk is off the charts that it will re-tear if you come back now and start practicing and or trying to play in an NFL game. So
I'm looking at that highlight right there.
Yeah.
I mean, he's bouncing and popping.
Okay,
but he's bouncing and popping.
You're asking for it. I just know.
No, I'm just looking at. I'm looking at that as early skip, and I'm looking at the bouncing and the popping.
Yeah.
Now, if I go out another month.
Yeah. It's why Richard's surgeon obviously told him, you can't do anything. There's nothing for what, Richard, 6 months, right? Till you could do any activity of any kind?
On the field activity.
Yeah, on the field activity is 6 months. Well, this is insane. So is this just Aaron being Aaron because he likes the attention, he's out of the spotlight, and suddenly he has thrust himself right back into the spotlight? He's always been a look at me kind of guy, and it's just part of his persona. I'm not condemning it. I'm just saying that's who he is. He loves his weekly spot on the McAfee show, and he reminds us, I'm still here, and listen to the narrative I'm creating. And
that looks damn good, though, that highlight. I mean, the B-roll,
yeah,
it looks good. If you told me that he's just sitting out because his back is sore and he was out there throwing the ball, you're like, oh, he looks like he can play. That's what it looks like.
Yeah.
Right, Skip, right?
The only thing I would... Yeah, it definitely does. It looked like he can still throw it. But the thing I'm concerned about is that offensive line isn't the greatest either.
No.
You just lost Mekhi Becton, and so that offensive line, it's not just all Zach Wilson, where it's like, oh, they're protecting him, giving him all day, and he's just not getting the ball out. He's getting pressure sometimes in a second, 2 seconds, and the thing about the league, they don't care if you're trying to come back healthy and do all that. They're going to say, hey, we think he's still hobbled. They're going to run pressure after pressure after pressure after pressure. Yeah. They're going to hit him. They're going to get to him. They're going to push him down, and they're going to test that Achilles, because the NFL is a cutthroat business. These dudes are going to try it and test that Achilles, and if he falls at the wrong angle, he's not going to be under control like he is right now. He's going to have to back up, somebody push him and catch himself, and that's where I'm afraid for him that it's going to pop again, because under controlled movement, sure, you can get away with it.
Yeah.
But when somebody pushes you as hard as they can, anything can happen.
And then the final point, not to get too medical and technical, but as Aaron said yesterday, as you know, as long as we're not stretching the Achilles, we feel like we're in a good place. The other high risk is if you do too much activity too early, and this is way early, it will stretch because it's not healed, and it will elongate, and it will cause you incredible problems down the road because it won't heal correctly in relation to your other Achilles. And so I don't know what Aaron's goal is longer term. Does he want to try to go Tom Brady and play until he's 45? He's about to turn 40, right on, what is it, December 2nd? So we're coming up on it right now. So he's about to turn 40. Does he want to play 2 or 3 more years? You better be careful, because you're going to risk messing up your next couple of years where the Achilles will never be right. You'll have all kinds of tendonitis problems with it, and it will just plague you and limit your ability to move at all going forward. So it's one of those things, you just can't mess with it. History would tell you this is insane what he's doing.
But based on what you just said from a medical standpoint and the information that you got, he's already messing with it.
He is.
By doing the things that he's doing, he's already messing with it, hobbling around, throwing the football, pushing off his back foot. I mean, like, he's already doing it. So I don't know, Skip, if where Achilles was in terms of rehab in the past with Richard and those guys at Adam, if it's the same now. whoever did his surgery and whatever they did enough to get him to do this. And Richard said he couldn't do this for 6 months, couldn't even start this process.
Well,
he's 3 months in.
Yeah, but I don't know if I could have done it, Key. I don't, because what I was advised to do was not put weight on my foot, because they said if I step on it and step the wrong way and it stretches, it's like putty. It's like gum. It's like anything else. If you stretch it, it's not going to bounce back. It's not going to be a rubber band. It's going to stay elongated. So the ability to control my foot is going to be lost. So the further it goes, you got this much power to begin with. And the further it goes down, the less power you get. So now I can only push from here instead of pushing from here. So I wasn't willing to risk that. So I was like, hey, I'm not gonna put this foot on the ground till they tell me to.
Did it feel like at all? Did it feel like at all you could put your foot on the ground at all? Did it ever feel that way?
Yeah. I probably could have put it down. No question. I just wasn't willing to risk like the rest of my career being gone and the potential for everything to go haywire. And I'm guessing he had 40 and he's like, hey, if it goes, it goes. I'm willing to take this shot.
Maybe. Yeah. And remember, if it goes, you got to go all the way back to square one, because you're going to have to go in there and surgically reattach it again and start completely over. Okay? So, right. And by the way, Dr. Elatraj did the surgery out here in LA. And
he's one of the best.
Top of the list. Yeah, one of the best.
Yeah, Aaron, well, if he's one of the best, the doctor's telling him he can do it, so. All right? I mean, that's what the doc is telling him. He's doing it. The doc is telling him he can do it.
Yeah, if I know Dr. Elatraj, he's probably saying, Aaron, we're a little quick here. Maybe we should slow down a bit. And maybe Aaron's telling him, I'm just doing this to try to give the team a little hope. Maybe keep myself.
They ain't got no hope, man. It's over.
Thanks for watching, Undisputed fans. Do you want more highlights from the show? Make sure to click that subscribe button for all the exclusive content from Undisputed.